Okay, here we are. Let's start with a few announcements, everybody. On the left there, we've got the boot camps and corporate overviews that are coming to a town near you. Make sure you go on to HQ and look at the summer tour dates. Also in Slack, we have there's a spreadsheet listed at the top that Jenny Cooper put together for all of us. So it kind of lets everyone know who is attending what summer tour. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 cities. And so choose one. This is not the national conference. That'll be, I believe, second week in September. So make sure you're going to be joining us for that. But joining one of these summer tour dates that corporate is putting out, and then any of the ones below, if those are close to you, definitely recommend you get to one of those as soon as possible. You will not regret it. Training opportunities for Switchboard. You can see that there in the green. So definitely make sure you, if you're using Switchboard or are learning Switchboard, make sure you get to some of those. Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays, they've got different things that they are teaching on. So just kind of pick what it is that you need at that moment and go with it. Also just want to remind everyone about the Ask the AO call on Thursdays at 2:30 Mountain Time. Come join me for 30 minutes just to ask about anything that is at the top of your mind, whether that be just overcoming, objections or how to handle something in your appointment, strategize, just anything that you're looking to learn or talk about. Would love to invite you to that. So please come. Just want to remind everyone about the bonus lead bonanza. So if you are working bonus leads, corporate is putting on this contest, and you may qualify for 1st through 5th place for your bonus lead production. The top winner is going to win a 4-night stay at the Hyatt, the Aspen Suite. So that sounds like it would be pretty nice. And I think it's a pretty big place. So if you do win, then you might be forced to have like a team gathering there. So, but of course, whatever it is you want to do with that would be totally up to you. So yeah, get your bonus leads and start working them, writing business on them. All right, just a reminder, we are into June. So this is a 4-week turn-in month. So we are in week 1. And as a reminder, if you are, I'm going to talk really quick about Slingshot promotion. They announced this on the national call. But as a reminder, June is the last month to earn a bonus for Slingshot. So there is a 10% bonus earned. That's been in place now for, quite a while. I want to say maybe a little over a year, maybe longer. But that means if you Slingshot and earn your promotion in 1 month, you will earn a 10% commission bonus off of the issue placed business. That part of Slingshot is actually going away. It was never intended for that to stay long term, but nonetheless, that part of Slingshot is going away. However, you can still earn your commission bump in 1 month by hitting your production issue placed goal. So make sure you reach out and ask about that if you want to earn the bonus. This is the last month to do that, but you will still be able to Slingshot and get your promotion in 1 month rather than 2. So if you need help with that or have questions about that, do not hesitate to ask. June 28th will be the last day to submit business for the month of June, but you will have until the 30th, which is a Sunday. So really you should have the 28th in your mind to get anything issued and placed at the carrier level. Okay, so if you have questions on that, please let us know. Also, just a quick reminder, this Wednesday, I didn't put a reminder on here, but this Wednesday, corporate is doing our State of the Union. So there will be no builders call on Wednesday. We will have our national call that starts at noon Eastern time. And it'll probably go 1.5 hours to 2 hours. But this is the State of the Union where corporate will be updating all of us on just the status of the company. And usually they announce some fun, just things that are changing or kind of coming up. So you'll want to be on there for that. All right, we had a great May, and there's some things that I'm really excited about the month of May. But interestingly enough, last week, the last week of May, which was a 5-week turn-in month, was a little bit of a lower week for us. We had 5 riders at 39.50. But we did have a great May with a lot of business that's already been placed at the carrier levels or at the carrier level. So we had a total of 17 riders, 6 new riders, which was really exciting. And we submitted as a team just a little over 70,000. Year to date, we're at 31 riders with almost 378,000. So great job to the team as a whole. If you look at the numbers last May in the bottom right, we had 7 riders for almost 44,000. So you can see the difference there from year over year. So we are definitely growing, and we've got a lot of builders, and it's just really exciting to see. So congratulations to everyone who wrote business last month. Congratulations to everyone who passed their exam, wrote their first apps, enrolled in pre-licensing, whatever it was you were working on, building your team, your agency, whatever it was, congratulations. And we're going to take that into June. So well done, everybody. And then just a reminder of all of our new writers, Sarah, Kate, Bill, Mackenzie, Dar, and Greg. And I think we're going to have quite a few more here for the month of June. So excited about that. So congratulations to our May new writers. And then here are the May writers. We had Daniel Cucciara come in at 8 applications for 19,504. You took the #1 spot. So congratulations, Daniel. That is actually a capped number. You wrote 1 application that was a little over 7,500. So that is a capped number. So great job on that. Kristen came in at #2 with 15 apps, 13,316, followed by Gabrielle. Very close race there, ladies. Fit 17 applications for 13,126. Laurel doing a great job with 4 apps, 4847. Tim Coates, 6 applications, just plugging along, 4,266. And Tim Romero, 2 apps, 3,403. Aridney, 3 applications for 3,160. Kyle, 4 apps, 2,657. Myself, 4 apps, 1,471. Sarah, Rachel, Morgan, all with 1 application, just right at about the $1,000 mark. And then new writer Kate, 2 apps, 485. Mackenzie, 1 app, 303. Dar, Bill, and Greg, all with 1 app each, their first apps. So congratulations, everybody, on a job well done for the month of May, and excited to be in June with you. Wanted to give everybody just a quick update on our builders. So we've got key leaders, Kyle and Kristen Gaines, working on their 2nd month of agency owner run. So I put their March issue paid numbers here, 23,718. April issue paid numbers. Remember, you need 30,000 issue paid to qualify for an agency owner run month. So looks like April is your month 1, 31,203 with 9 writers. For May, the submit number is 55,473 with 9 writers. Great job to the 9 writers taking part in all of that. Congratulations. We will see what the May issue paid numbers look like, but now you all are working on June. So June would be month 3 if the May issue paid numbers come in over 30,000, which it is looking like that's a strong possibility. So keep up the great work to Team K2. Well done. Also, we've got our top team leaders, the Cucciaras, Daniel and Gabrielle. Congratulations on a great job. Look at the difference between March, April, and May. So March and April, those are issue paid numbers. May submit numbers, almost 39,000. So great job to the Cucciara crew. I think the May numbers are going to come in strong, which will be month 1 for qualifying for key leader. So great job to you guys. We've got Team Sheedy coming in as well. We've got 2 writers, Morgan, and then you've got Bill as well. 2 writers for 1096. So we've got you as a team leader in progress, and we've got people hiring, Tim Coates, Tim Romero. If I missed your name as somebody who's hiring, let me know, because I do want to keep track of that. So great job. This is a fun slide to put together. So excited to watch all of our teams grow. And again, we've got lots of new people on the team. So this is what you're a part of. So we're excited to have you. And then we are working this year in 2024 to serve 100 families each. So find your name on the slide, and excited to see Gabrielle, Kristen, Daniel, you guys are doing a great job working towards your 100 families served. But even if you have only 1 application on the board so far, we have many months to serve 100 families in 2024. So keep working and serving, and we will get there. So great job and well done. Just a reminder about our Connect calls that we have. If you are looking to just have a one-on-one with myself, Kyle, Daniel, please feel free to schedule a time on our Calendly calendar for just a quick Connect call. All righty, perfect. That's all we've got there for our share. So anybody have anything to add that I might have missed or should have talked about? Just a quick chance for anyone to unmute. Did we do okay? All right, I think we did all right. Okay, so I am so excited to introduce some of you for the very first time to my really dear friend, Melissa Banning. Melissa, welcome to our team call. I am really excited and extremely grateful that you are joining us. But I want to give you guys a little bit of background on Melissa. So first of all, if you've been around for a little bit, you see her name all over the collective Tar Harris leaderboards. So she is always at the top. I've known Melissa now for a little over 7 years. And during those 7 years, I have known her to be someone who is extremely intentional about her business. She takes this very seriously. She has a beautiful family. She is married to Ethan, and she's got 2 wonderful bonus daughters who, you guys, adore her. They adore her. And then she has a 21-month-old baby girl, Eliana, who is just an absolute delight and a joy to their entire family. So what a blessing she has been to all of you. But Melissa, I have loved the way you have just shown intentionality in our business. And I have learned so very much from you, Melissa. Melissa came to Symmetry 8 years ago. So it looks like it'll be 8 years in July. Is that right? Okay. She is a top producer, and she has submitted 1,000 as of Friday anyway. She might have done something over the weekend. 1,554 applications or families, clients served for $1.8 million in submitted business. And I can almost guarantee you the percentage of that business that has issued is probably close to, I would guess, 85%. It's a high number. Whatever the percentage is, it's extremely high, one of the highest in our business. So Melissa, you are extremely accomplished, and we're really excited to learn from you. So thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. Wow, what an intro. We can just end the call there, because I was thinking this morning, just a little side note, I was an agency director, and I used to teach on these calls on a regular basis. And I used to lead calls like 3 or 4, actually 5, usually 5 days a week. And when my daughter was born in July of 2022, I took a step back, and I'm really just personally producing now. And that's not to say that you can't do both. I just at 45 years of age had waited a very long time to have my baby girl, and it was the decision that made the most sense for our family. So I have not been on calls, and I actually had like butterflies in my stomach, or like nervousness, which I was a teacher for those of you who don't know my background, I was a teacher for 18 years prior to coming to Symmetry. So I'm used to getting up, and I was a teacher trainer. So I got up in front of adults, 100 to 150 adults on a weekly basis to do the personal and professional development for the school district. And but it never ceases to amaze me that getting on these calls always gets me excited and a little bit nervous because I
Sure.
get to teach what I've learned along the way. So thank you for having me on. Thank you for just allowing me I have to comment two things. One, I remember sitting at lunch with a lot of the folks on your team, Kyle and Kristen and the Cuchieras and Tim Coates
Yep.
at lunch at conference in August. And I remember how they had these big dreams to build their agencies, and to see these numbers is like, I have goosebumps just seeing it. It's so rewarding to just see the progress, and it's not quite even a year yet. And I know not just the growth of their business, but the growth of some amazing humans. So, and a second thing is, I love that the thing that you end the call with, or your numbers, your stats, are the number of families served. Because the numbers, the 1.8 million never has meant a lot to me, honestly. Yes, it's great to have money in your bank account. Yes, it's great to be out of debt. Yes, it's wonderful to be compensated for how hard we work. But the most important thing always to me has been the families. In fact, just as you're doing announcements, I have a voicemail that came in and a text message from one of my clients from the first year that I was, the first summer when I was like 120-degree summers here in Arizona, meeting with folks face to face. And I helped a gentleman, and his son just called. Unfortunately, there's a death claim. So those are this is why we're here, and we have to remember that. And I love that you honor that and respect that, and focus on the protected families, because that's really what this is all about.
Yeah. Thanks, Melissa. Well, sorry to hear about the call that you just had, but I always tell people the most important, like getting them covered, that's very, very important. But the really, really important part of our job really comes when those calls or those messages come in. And now you have the real honor of walking that family, those beneficiaries, through the process of working with the insurance company and collecting that insurance that their loved one put in place for them. So that's the real just touching and kind of beautiful yet hard part of what we do. But what a blessing that they reached out to you. That's what we want them to do, is so that we can help them navigate that process through the insurance company. So or with the insurance company. So anyway, I know they'll be blessed by you. So you guys, Melissa, I listened to, you did the collective team call on Friday, and we're going to almost kind of repeat this a little bit. But Melissa is so very strong in the meetings with her clients. I was going to say in the home, but Melissa, you've gone from being in the home with your clients, sitting at their kitchen table. You've done that. You worked through COVID and had to transition to Zoom. And my understanding is you're still doing a majority of your appointments over Zoom, but you've also incorporated, I mean, we've got some, people that prefer a phone call. And so you do that as well. So you've done it all. And the thing that is so great and what I love about how you handle your appointments is really nothing has changed between in the home, on the phone, and over Zoom. Your process, correct me if I'm wrong, has basically stayed exactly the same. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Why is that so important?
I think two things. One, I think for me, it's always been that I feel like God called me out of teaching, which was my mission field. And I thought it was just for a short season while I was on medical leave, but it's now an almost 8-year season. Or actually, I'm going on 9 years this summer.
Is it 9 years? Okay. Wow. I didn't do the math, but anyway, yeah.
I was a reading specialist, not a math specialist, so I could be wrong on that. It has been absolutely my mission field here, and so I've always felt like people come first. Relationships matter, and it doesn't matter if you protect them with an application. It's not going to be in place when their loved one needs it if you don't build a relationship and a rapport with them and trust, and if they don't see the actual need and have emotion tied to this decision. This is an emotional decision to purchase insurance. And when times get tough, like in Arizona, I just had a couple that had to replace 2 air conditioning units. That's about 30 grand. And they were going to cancel their mortgage protection because they couldn't afford it. And I reminded them, I said, remember when we put this in place, And I said to you, let's choose a program that fits if the air conditioning went out, or if you had to buy a new refrigerator, or your car broke down, you know, what can we do here to make sure that this protection is in place? Because you've now paid on it for 6 years. We want to make sure. So it meant making a few adjustments, but it's really about protecting the family. And so I've always felt like it's not a policy. This is a program that they write with you. You're not a quote producer that's producing quotes for them and putting a policy in place. You're a case manager who's listening to their story with empathy and compassion and helping them to figure out a program. And I never call it a policy, not a principle. It's a program that's intended to protect their family. 2 things: to protect the equity in the home, but more importantly, to protect so that their family can grieve with dignity. And so I think that one thing that was really important to me too is that when I first started, Ashley Tarr was my mentor. We had no training program, you guys, and I was a teacher trainer. So I was like really frustrated by the fact that there was literally like an outline with like 7 bullet points for an in the home appointment. And I was like, there's no script, like there's no, like, what do I say? What do I do? And I'm so routine. And so Ashley came out to Arizona. She dialed with me on Friday. We scheduled, I think it was 5 appointments. Maybe, I think we scheduled 6, 4 on Monday, and then 2 on Tuesday. We went together on Monday. I was just like driving her around and kind of sitting in these appointments and just listening and taking notes and recording. And then she flew out on Monday night, and Tuesday morning, I went and ran those next 2 appointments by myself. And I completely bombed because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. It was terrible. Like, I called Danny Young from the home asking him to run me. And that's the last person you want to call if you need product knowledge, because he's like, call this person. So I didn't know the difference between I knew the difference between term and whole life, but I couldn't explain it to the family that I was sitting with. It was a nightmare. So I've come a long way. And the one thing that's always remained true is to be coachable and teachable. And so in the beginning, it was literally just mimicking and really truly just mimicking Ashley and borrowing her belief. Like, she was very assumptive, and I had to pretend to be assumptive because I had no self-esteem. I was terrible at being assumptive or assertive, and really had to work on myself to get to the place where I believed what I was saying. But at the end of the day, I think the reason my in the home has stayed the same, or my appointments have stayed the same, is there's heart in it. Like, people can really truly tell that I'm just there as a teacher to educate them. They've already asked for this. My job is to educate them and ask the right questions so that they choose the program that works best to protect their family, and they feel like they're in control. In the beginning, I had the mindset that Ashley was writing. She was top producer in the company. And it was because she had all these healthy young people that were moving into Nashville. And I had the 70 plus with COPD on oxygen. Like, almost 90% of my business, you guys, is 68 plus with many health issues. I live in Arizona. I've kept the same lead order since I started in 2016. And they're all senior citizens who live in Arizona. And they're all, I would say majority of them have major health issues. And I used to see that as a terrible thing. I would put the leads that were healthy at the top and call those first, and put the older, 75 plus at the very bottom of my stack of leads to call. And it was my mindset that needed to change. And so what I believed about my leads was what was the problem. And so I think that if there's one thing that you can take away from this, is you cannot go into an appointment with someone who's what we call critical period coverage, or mortgage payment protection. And even if you're not running mortgage protection leads, this can still apply to a life lead, or a one that if you're doing something with them. You cannot approach it where you're telling them, hey, so sorry that you don't qualify and it's too expensive for you because you're older and you have all these health issues. Think about these 2 statements. If I say you don't qualify, or it's too expensive, so you can only cover part of your loan, versus, hey, you get to cover the part that your family actually needs. and you get to choose a program that is affordable. Those two statements are saying the same thing in a very different way.
Mhm.
And so you have to make sure, number one, that they don't feel like you're doing the takeaway by covering part of it. If you get to the prices and they're like, oh, Kristen, it was great meeting you. You're great. Thank you for explaining it so well. But we were really hoping to cover the whole mortgage. You have not done your job.
Mm.
I know that sounds really firm, but if you get to the quotes, and I don't never call them quotes, if you get to the programs and they ask for a whole, they say that we wish we could cover the whole thing. You've not done a good job with getting to the emotion, getting to the why, and you've not unloaded your bullets out of your gun before you get there. So in the very beginning of your in the home or in your presentation, you need to take the bullets out of the gun. So what does that look like? You're going to say things like, in the past, people thought that they had to cover most of their loan. However, now you get to choose a program that, because it's not through the bank and the bank doesn't require you to cover the whole thing, the bank is not the beneficiary, your family is the beneficiary. You get to choose a program that fits your budget and fits with what your family actually needs.
Mhm.
Okay. They should not be telling you that they wanted to cover the whole thing, because you're going to explain to them why that makes no sense in a very respectful way. But I'm going to be like, hey, Kyle, like, this is no disrespect to you whatsoever, but this is a 30-year loan for $500,000. You're 72. I don't get to make the decision of when your expiration date is, but it's not likely that you'll still be there in 30 years, correct? And he's going to chuckle, right? I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm kind of pointing out, like, there's no reason to cover 500,000. And I say things like, if you died tomorrow, Kyle, Kristen's not going to need to pay off the loan. She's going to just she's just going to need to continue making the loan payments. And so they can do the math and they can figure that out of how long that Kristen might, last if she's in her 70s. It's not going to be a 30-year loan probably. And so you have to uncover, and you do that by asking questions. You're not selling a program to them. You're asking questions so that they can see the value in it.
Mhm.
Does that?
Yeah, that's great. I love how initially when we start out, I think all of us, probably most of us, fell into this category of, you think all these things about, there's a problem with the leads. There's, I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't go out and do it initially. They've got to cover the home mortgage. The client's not going to be able to afford it. Like, we're telling ourselves all these things, and those things can either work against us, or we can tell ourselves the things that will work for us, right? So that's what Melissa learned, is she couldn't keep telling herself the wrong things. She had to tell herself the right things so that she could confidently go into these appointments. And again, be coachable. We're all going to probably fumble through things in the very, very beginning. You're not going to go out and do it perfectly. Even Ashley Tarr didn't go out and do it perfectly. Ashley Harris didn't go out and do it perfectly at the beginning. Like, we all have to learn and get better. And Melissa was extremely coachable. And you went back and asked for help. You needed to be coachable, and you needed to be coached, and that's what you did. And through all of this, these steps and the trials and like going out and doing it, coming back and being coachable, you have now found yourself in your appointment. And that's why you do so well. You're not trying to do it exactly like Ashley did it. You're not trying to do it exactly like I do it. You're doing it like Melissa does it. But you had to have something to follow in the beginning, and you followed it. And yeah, now you have developed and found yourself within it. So mindset is extremely important. We're going to talk through some assumptive language, why talking about finances in the appointment is so important. I know for me, Melissa, talking about finances, and I think when you and I chatted, I think you were the same way, but in the beginning, I remember feeling like, why would I ask this client about the finances? That's none of my business. I'm not going to ask them. And I didn't ask them. Once I started asking about finances, it completely changed my business night and day. So we're going to talk through about why that is so important, and about options and how we present those programs. So anything you want to add to that, kind of as we get going, Melissa?
Yeah, so I'm going to just point out a few things too that I think are really important. If you have not done a policy on yourself or a family member, you need to do that. Symmetry and Quility has the program built in where you can do a policy on yourself. And if you have not gone through the process of what that would look like and how you would determine how much you need, that was a game changer. Two things changed my business. I went from July is when I came on board, but I didn't officially start until I came back from conference in August, in 2016. And from like August of 2016 until I think it was like January, February, I didn't write much business. I think it was like, I don't even know the exact numbers, but I did not write a lot of business, and I was really frustrated and I was going to quit. And then Ashley came out here for a fall tour, or it must have been a winter tour, excuse me. And I said to her, I'm really struggling. All these people are sick. Like, they're not healthy. It's really hard to protect them. It's really hard to convince them to do a $400 payment for like $12,000 worth of coverage. I need help. And she sat down with me. She went to one appointment that I had scheduled while she was in town. And I remember sitting in the meeting and having this epiphany that it was all about my mindset. I didn't believe that there was value in covering $12,000. And when I heard her ask them the questions, I was like, and at the same time, I was heading home at the time, home is Illinois for me. And at the time I was heading back to Illinois to see my parents and my grandmother. And I sat down with my parents, and I had no idea that they would have been, my dad would literally be up a creek without a paddle if something happened to my mom first. My mom would be okay because of the way her pension works out, but my dad literally would not be able to stay in the home and would need some help. And so I sat down with them and did the financial picture. And I was first of all, I was blown away because you don't have any idea how broke your parents are until you sit down and do that. And just the diet, like I saw my dad's stoic. My dad, I think I've seen him cry twice in my entire life. He's he's very prideful, doesn't like to show that he has weakness. And I saw the brokenness in his face when we actually sat down and did the client qualification form with the finances and spelled it out. And I ended up doing a American Amicable Dignity Solutions policy on my mom that covers 18 months of the mortgage. So my dad would have time to grieve with dignity. They have a lot of equity in their home, like a lot of these folks do that you're meeting with that are older. And it gives him time to grieve, but he would have to sell the home. It would be too much for him anyways, but he'd have to sell the home, and he could take that equity and get something smaller. And now they happen to have moved to Arizona. So again, the plan's portable. So it covers them and their home here in Arizona, covers a little bit more than 18 months here. But I know that they're well protected. And as I was sitting at the hospital, my dad had major surgery last week and he didn't come out of anesthesia well. It was a 7:30 a.m. surgery, and he didn't wake up until 9:45 p.m. And I was sitting there in the hospital room with him, waiting for him to wake up, thinking to myself, I know my mom will be okay if something happens. And I know that's a horrible thing to even talk about, but that's the reality. Like I know because I've seen it on paper that she'd be okay. And there's nothing more important than doing that and taking the steps to do that on yourself, on a loved one. Stories tell. And so in my appointments, I can use that example all the time with my families that I'm meeting with.
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, if you don't have your own story to tell, borrow somebody else's story. Borrow Melissa's. Yeah. So great. Okay. If there's nothing else, we're going to get into a role play. And are we ready for that, Melissa?
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to point out a few things that I'm going to do before I do it so that they can notice it. I talked about this for a second in the very beginning. You want to unload the gun of things that they might come up with and say as objections before they have a chance to say it. So you know what the common objections are. Make sure that you address them before they address it. Second thing, you're going to see me doing some things to establish emotion. I'm going to use specific body language. I'm going to be leaning into Kristen and Kyle. You want to be taking notes the entire time that they're talking, because again, you're developing a program or plan for them specifically. You're not just writing arbitrary quotes down because their loan is $200,000. It's based on what Kristen and Kyle are going to tell me they need. So they should see you taking notes. Do not ever let them see you or let them know. You can run quotes ahead of time if you're new and you need to know what the ballpark is, but don't let them know that you have quotes on your paper. The quotes that you're going to be running at the end, whether you've run them already or not, are going to be run on the spot. So they see that you're running it for them for their specific program based on what they tell you they need. Super important. That's super important. So they need to see it. I'm going to be establishing the why by going through, asking some tough questions about the budget and eliciting emotion. I want you to think of this. If you're spending less than 10 minutes on the getting to the why and the emotion, then you haven't done your job. Okay. So we're going to spend the heart of it on that. And you're going to have to learn to sit back and be quiet, ask the tough question, and then sit back and be quiet and let them actually answer. The goal is for them to visualize what that would actually look like if Kyle didn't come home from Walmart tomorrow, or Kristen didn't wake up tomorrow. Okay. Now they're going to be an older couple just because the goal here is to see what it's like with an older couple with a lot of health issues. But you want them to you're going to watch how they walk through and what I'm doing to use them against each other with the emotion. Like there's no emotion tied to me because I'm a stranger, but there's sure a lot of emotion when I ask Kristen the hard questions about how Kyle feels. So you want to think about how to use the couple that's why you never want a one-legger. You never want to sit with just the husband or just the wife. Don't do it. If the husband only shows up, don't go through the appointment. I've new people do this all the time where they're like, oh, I just thought I'd just go through it for practice, or I thought I'd go through it. Don't. If they don't respect you by bringing both people to the appointment, reschedule with them and say, you know what, I'd love to be able to go over this with you, but this is an extremely important decision that you're going to be making. It's critical you're both there. Oh, but I'm only covering Kristen, so I don't need to be there, or Kyle, I'm only covering myself, so Kristen doesn't need to be there. Kristen's the beneficiary. She's the one that's going to be calling me when you pass away, not if you pass away, when you pass away. So I want to make sure Kristen's there so she knows exactly what this program is. Don't be afraid to say the hard thing. Okay. All right. So we're going to skip over establishing like rapport and everything. I don't really do a whole lot at the beginning because it's super awkward on Zoom anyways. The only thing I do is show my license. So let's assume that I've just finished sharing my license and I'm going to say, Kristen, and let's assume that on the phone, I collected all this information from Kyle. Kristen was not there when I collected the information. Okay. This is a real, just so you know, guys, this is a real case that I did like 2 weeks ago. And it's a case where I spoke to the husband on the phone and sat down with them. Real numbers, all the numbers are the same, medications are the same, it's just the names are changed. So Kristen, my name's Melissa. I know that I spoke to Kyle on the phone. I'm the case manager that's going to be working with you both today. And I know that I collected all the health information from him, but I'm also going to ask you because it's important what you think about all this. I shared with Kyle when we met on the phone that I was a teacher for 18 years. So really that's my primary role here today, is to help explain and educate. So we used to meet in person, and as a teacher, I would rather be at your kitchen table with you right now. So please, 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 I don't always catch it on a little tiny Zoom screen. If you're uncomfortable, if you have a question, don't hesitate to interrupt me. This meeting is for you, and I want you both to feel 100% comfortable. I'm showing you my license here because I know if I was going to meet with a stranger, I'd feel really uncomfortable about giving out my personal information. But I also know I'm going to be asking some tough questions, and this is a tough topic. So if I'm overstepping, again, just feel free to let me know. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. And then, so as I explained on the phone with you, Kyle, the mortgage protections, major role or major goal is to make sure that the loan is covered for, I know you're more concerned about covering Kristen. You want the numbers for both of you, or the information for both of you, but your concern is more if something happens to you that Kristen's protected. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
And Kristen, how do you feel about that? If something happened to you, do you think Kyle would need the protection on you, or is it more of a concern to cover if something happens to him?
Yeah, I think he'd be a little better off than me. So I think, making sure I'd be able to stay in the house is what I'm most worried about, I would say.
Okay. Okay. So that is the goal of the insurance. It's to make sure that you can stay in the home, or at least stay in it. I know, Kyle, you mentioned that Kristen would probably sell the home within a few years, that it's a big home with a lot of property. It'd be too much for her, not just financially, but also just like to take care of. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely a lot more house than we probably need right now. So,
And Kristen, do you agree with that too? I don't want Kyle making that decision for you. You're the one that's making the decision.
Oh
ultimately.
yeah, that man's the one that cleans the whole thing anyway. I'd need to get out of here for sure.
Yeah, I thought of that many times. If my husband left, he's not doing any of the cleaning, but I would definitely, it would be too much help for me. So,
Yeah.
so the goal of this would be to make sure that if something happens to Kyle, if he doesn't, either sickness or death, that you'd be covered with the protection. As I explained to you on my, and you saw on my license, this is mortgage insurance is not just life insurance. If you pass away, there are living benefits too. So if there was a terminal illness or a chronic illness, that money is going to pay out to you. And if you need me to define what those are, I certainly can. Do you need some clarification on what terminal or chronic illness is, or are you okay on that?
Yeah, I've never heard of that actually.
So terminal illness would be if a doctor stated in Arizona, it's actually 12 months or less. In some states, it's 24 months or less. But here in Arizona, it would be 12 months or less. If Kyle's given the life expectancy of 12 months or less, now he might not pass in that 12 months, but that's considered a terminal illness, where one that you're not recovering from. Then you can accelerate the death benefit and get it. You're basically getting your death benefit early to help out with some bills. Okay.
Oh, great. Okay.
Chronic illness would be if you could not do if Kyle could not do 2 of the 6 activities of daily life on his own: bathing, toileting, dressing, getting up and getting down, things like that. So again, it's not just a death benefit. I know Kyle mentioned that you guys have some life insurance but those are just baby policies to cover
Right.
burial, correct? Like small little policies.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's the intent of the burial insurance is not to pay mortgage payments, because that's a larger sum. The intent of the mortgage insurance is to make sure, Kristen, you can stay in the home comfortably, to replace Kyle's income loss or the income loss, upon death. And then also you both have quite a bit of equity. There's 120, I'm not an appraiser, so this is just a rough number, but based on what your loan is of 200,000, the equity that it kind of shows, again, Zillow, not an appraiser, about 120 to 150,000. So we want to protect that, because that's money that's hard earned, and you've been living in that home for over 30 years. You told me that you raised your kids there. So I want to make sure not only that the equity is protected, but that Kristen's protected and doesn't have to like sell it and lose equity in that home, or the potential of losing the home because there's not enough income to cover. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay, so my job as the case manager is to make sure that you qualify for the program that you pick out today. I'm going to ask some health questions to confirm the health information that Kyle provided for me with me on the phone. They're not going to do a medical exam, but they are going to look at your medical history. You're going to sign a HIPAA to allow them to see it. So whatever we go over, it's not going to disqualify you if you have health issues, but it's much better for me to know up front so I can make sure I chose the right program for you. I work with over 40 insurance carriers. So my job is to make sure that the program that we choose is the cheapest based on your health and your age. Okay, that way you don't have to shop around with other companies. And then the second role that I have, besides making sure that you qualify for the program that you pick out today, is I'm going to go over your income. Now, I know that feels really uncomfortable probably with a stranger over Zoom. And what does that have to do with your life insurance or your mortgage protection or what you have in place or what you don't have in place? But what I'm really trying to determine is 2 things. One, how much protection do you need, Kristen, when Kyle passes away or if he gets sick? Secondly, I want to make sure that we only need to cover Kyle. If we do need to cover you, we could do a smaller program on you as well, if he would need it financially. There's no need to do protection on you, Kristen, if Kyle doesn't need it, but we will just double check. Okay. So I'll confirm the health information. I'll confirm the loan, the income. Based on what you tell me you think you need, I'll show you 3 options: high, medium, low. You'll choose one of those programs today. We'll do the application right here on the screen so you can see me type in each other's names, address, etc. Make sure it's correct. I'll send it to your email, Kyle, since we're protecting you most likely. You'll sign it. We'll submit it to the company, and we should hear back sometimes right away, sometimes a couple of days. But once that's submitted, if you need to make any adjustments, you certainly can. You own this program. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, I've been doing this for over 8 years, and as a teacher, I'm good at reading body language. So if for some reason someone feels uncomfortable about the price of it or the budget, or they don't see the need for it, they'll say things like, we need to think about it, we need to pray about it, we need to talk to our kids about it, etc. we determine that you need this program and you do need it financially when we go over the budget, then it's just a matter of choosing the program. That does not matter to me what you choose. So you let me know if we need to make any adjustments once we go over the options based on your budget. I want you to be so comfortable with the budget that if you had to replace an air conditioner or a roof, which we just recently had to do, that it's going to be comfortable with the budget. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Any questions before we move on?
No,
I
I'm
think
just nervous to see how much it costs, I guess.
Well, again, you have complete control of it. I will let you know too, Kristen, I lost a home in 2010 because of the naughty mortgage companies that wrote bad loans on single teachers at the time. I lost it over 4 payments and I lost $174,000 of equity. So some protection is going to be better than none for you. If you had to sell tomorrow, because Kyle didn't wake up tomorrow, even if we just have a little bit covered, it's better than nothing. So again, you have complete control over how much you choose today. And it's that along with what you have in savings or what you have from mortgage, his social security should get you through the difficult time. But our goal is always to cover what most people in your situation will do if they're on social security and pension like you both are, is they'll cover a portion of the mortgage. And when I say most of my families, I mean 98% of them, because it does not make sense to cover the whole 200,000 if you're both telling me that you're going to be selling your home within a year or 2 years. We'll figure that period of time. It wouldn't make sense to pay off the house and pay for mortgage protection to pay off the house and then turn around and sell it. So the mortgage protection can cover the amount that you'll need, Kristen, and some is better than nothing. Okay. So you let me know what you're 100% comfortable with. I know budget's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to, at this time, guys, I would confirm their health information. I'm going to use the health information to kind of elicit some emotion, but we're going to skip over that because I want to be respectful of the time. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Kristen and Kyle, we're trying to cover the critical period. The critical period is typically the first year to first year and a half after someone passes. That statistically is the most dangerous time for someone while they're grieving. And if there's a sickness or a death, it's the most dangerous time to lose the equity in the home because of loss of income. So Kristen, you told me that you would definitely sell because Kyle's the one that cleans and it would be too much for you, but approximately how much do you think that you would time you would need? And I know that it's not going to be that time period was when the grieving will stop, but at what point do you think you would probably sell the home, be out of the home and in something new?
Yeah, I think a minimum of a year is kind of, I'd like to at least have a full year.
Okay, 1 year. Okay. So your loan is $1,365 a month. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I calculated it that $16,380 is that critical period or that first year. Okay. Sometimes we like to go a little higher than that, like 18 months, a year and a half. That's what my mom did for my dad. Sometimes we go a little bit less because it doesn't fit in the budget. But the goal would be that we would start with that kind of goal number is $16,380. Do you have $16,380 in savings right now to cover that loan if Kyle didn't wake up or come home from the store tomorrow?
Oh gosh, I don't think we have quite that much right now.
About how much do you have right now in under the mattress or
Oh, no money under the mattress. I honestly don't even know if we have anything, Kyle. I don't know. Do we have anything?
Like about $5,000, I would say.
Okay. So 5,000, so a little bit more than 3.5 mortgage payments there for Kristen. And that's not to mention the utility. Now, Kristen, if Kyle, if I know you said you're going to sell the home, where would you go?
Oh gosh, maybe one of our kids or I
Are
don't
they
know.
are they here in Arizona, Kristen and Kyle?
Yeah, they're all here.
Okay. And would you move in with them or would you just move to something closer to them?
I don't know. They want me living with them, so probably just something a little smaller, maybe down the street or
Apartment or a condo or something?
I guess so.
Well,
Yeah.
and we also don't know that when that's going to happen in the next 30 years. So it's really just determining something that would make sense so it might be moving into assisted living. I hope that never happens, but it might be moving into a home of your own. But you do have $122,000 of equity currently. That's going to grow over time. That's what our goal is, to protect, along with your emotional state of losing Kyle's income. So Kyle, how do you feel about Kristen moving to be closer to the kids if something happened to you?
Yeah, I think that'd be best case scenario. Yeah, closer to family, and like I said in the beginning, definitely too much house here. So if it was sooner, probably a smaller apartment, and if it was later, probably living with the family. So
Okay. And how do you feel about her only having like 3.5 months of mortgage payments in the bank right now in savings?
she'd be a wreck if I when I kick the bucket. So probably a little bit more than 3 months would be needed. It's a start for sure, but 3 months would go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that we definitely need to cover Kyle then?
hmm
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I
Okay.
think, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Let's go through the finances and find out how much then. And then what I heard you say earlier is that if something happened to Kristen financially, you'd be okay. You'd be a wreck after 30 years of marriage and being in that home for so long, but you'd financially be able to make it. Let's check here. Okay. So Kyle, right now, what are you receiving for pension or retirement?
Yeah, pension is about 1360.
Okay. And then Social Security?
Social Security is about 2800.
Okay. And then so 1360 for pension, 2800 for Social Security. And then what is your retirement currently? I know you mentioned that you worked on the railroad, so you have some retirement here in Arizona.
Yep, yeah, it's about 1200.
1200. Okay. And then so I was a reading specialist, not a math specialist when I was a teacher, so just bear with me here. I have like about $5,360 a month. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Kristen, what is your income look like right now? Do you have Social Security, retirement, pension, anything like that?
Yeah, just some Social Security. It's just about only $637 though.
Okay, 637. So that with Kyle's 5,300, the total household income currently is about $5,999. So essentially $6,000 a month is coming in currently. And I know that Kyle, Kristen, you would keep Kyle's Social Security because his is higher than yours. You'd lose yours. Kyle, would she get your pension in your retirement? Or I think you shared with me that she would not, right?
She would not. Nope.
That you told me that on the phone. So essentially her income would go from 6,000 a month to 2,800 because she'd only be getting your Social Security. Kristen, what would that look like for you? From 6,000 to 200, 800. The mortgage payment is 1,300.
Yeah, that's gonna be tight for sure.
Okay. Kyle, what would you do, Kristen? Let's assume you don't have this protection in place. You have the 3 months of loan payments in the savings.
I'd probably just be praying this house could sell. I mean, I'd have to get out of here pretty quick at that point. Or, I mean, I guess I might have to ask the kids if they could, foot the bill for a bit.
Kyle, how do you feel about her asking the kids for some help with the mortgage payment?
Yeah, I mean, they got enough other things going on, so it's I'm sure they'd be willing, but I don't want that to be the case of my kids having to pull in like that. So I wouldn't prefer that.
Yeah.
How do
you feel about her having to put the house on the market like the first month after you pass away because she's only got the 3 months in savings?
Yeah, like I said, I know it wouldn't be great, so it's that would be a little more pressure than I probably would want to put on her for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely having a little bit longer would make me feel more comfortable. Yeah.
Kristen, how do you feel about having a little bit more?
Yeah, having more, I think, would be good. I'm just praying at this point we both go at the same time. I don't think I'm gonna be doing well without that guy.
No, I know it's hard, and I know that we're talking about something that's difficult, so I can see that
Yeah.
that's difficult for you. I'm sorry. I know.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I know is you said 1 year. Now that you know the finances on paper of going from 6,000 to 2,800, you're going to lose more than half of your income.
Yeah.
Okay. Of Kyle, and your income is going to be gone if he goes first. Do you still feel like you want to look at the 1 year? You still think that 1 year is enough, or do you think you'd need a little bit more?
I mean, like I said, a year minimum, like maybe we could see what that looks like, but I honestly would feel a lot better with having maybe closer to 2 years.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is you want to have 1 year as the basement or like the minimum, and then like maybe looking at 2 years, and then maybe we'll look at 1.5 to see what's in between. Does that make sense to both of you?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, if something were to happen to Kristen, Kyle, you're losing the $637. You still have $5,362 a month income. Would you feel comfortable with that amount to cover the loan and all the rest of the bills to stay?
I think, paying off the car soon. And so there's other things that'll be going away as well. So I would feel pretty comfortable. You know, I wouldn't be opposed to even having maybe a couple months, 6 months would be something I'd actually consider.
Okay.
You said something about kind of the emotional side of it. And, that's probably something that I would like to know. Maybe emotionally, I can take time for maybe 6 months, but I just want to see what that would cost maybe. But
so what I hear you saying is you want me to look at covering like 6 months or like 8,000-ish of that 1 year. If Kristen were to go, you don't necessarily need it. You wouldn't be up a creek without a paddle without it, but it would help the emotional state. Is that good?
I think so, yeah. And just to know there's a little bit more there for the family and just all the things that comes with that. But yeah, paper and the numbers actually I know would be okay. But yeah.
Emotionally, it's going to be difficult, is what I hear you saying. And Kristen, you know Kyle really well. You know him best. Do you think that he would need an extra bonus?
For
okay.
Sure.
Is he going to be more devastated than you would be? No, I'm not.
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so at this point, I'm going to run the numbers. I'm going to I'm not going to show them the quota on my screen, but I'm going to let them see that I'm just going to say, just wait 1 second. I'm going to run those numbers. And when I present them, I always present the female or the healthier one or the cheaper one first. Highest to lowest, the highest amount, lowest, and you never present critical period by saying $8,000 or 12,000 or 16,000. You say, okay, to cover Kristen, you said you wanted 20, Kyle, you said you wanted 6 months to cover Kristen. So I did 9 months, 6 months, and 3 months. So here's what it would be for 9 months of mortgage payments. Here's what it would be for 6 months of mortgage payments. Here's what it would be for 3 months of mortgage payments. Which one of those is the one that you would like to do to protect yourself should Kristen pass tomorrow? You use that word. Which one would you like to do to protect yourself? Or Kristen, which one would you like to use to protect Kyle? Okay. Then I go to Kyle's numbers and I present, she asked for 2 years and we're going to do 2 years, 1.5, 1 year. And I'm going to give those and I'm going to say, okay, Kyle, which one of these makes the most sense? Because we've used that language, makes the most sense to protect Kristen and let him choose. And then you go right, you just put the application on the screen and you start doing it. You don't ask them if they want to do an application today. You've already told them that they're doing an application today. They've told you that they need it. They've told you how much they need, and you start doing it. Okay. Questions? Gabrielle?
I'm there.
Question is, do you have like any kind of script or some like bullet points that list all?
I do. I'm happy to, I have the OG script, Jen, that is off of my symmetry that Alex and Summer and I typed up years ago. I'm happy to share that one. I also have some bullet points. I don't know if anybody still has access to the My Symmetry videos that have the critical period coverage lingo and what to focus on. It's basically the posturing of using the two things, Gabrielle, is it's going to be using the 2 incomes and then asking Kyle a question and then asking Kristen, how do you feel about that? And then asking Kristen and asking Kyle, how do you feel about it? There's no script really. I kind of wing it as I go, but my goal is always that 2 things, that they can visualize actually what it would look like. If Kristen would have said that she was in the home on Friday during the team call, Summer and Alex, Summer said that she would move out of state to be with the kids. If she said that, I would say, okay, do you have 10,000 set aside for a moving truck and movers and moving costs? Oh, we hadn't thought about that. Because those are things people don't think about. Your job is to ask the questions that paint the picture of what it's actually going to look like when that death comes.
Right. Yeah.
And so do you need to get movers to Kristen to move your stuff across, if it's, and I could have asked that about in here, they were sure that they needed it. They weren't giving any pushback, but I could have asked that question. Like, would you need to hire movers, or are your kids going to move if he dies in August here in Arizona, it's 120 degrees. Are you going to hire movers, or are you going to, that's an easy one here, because no one wants to, like, when someone asks you if you can have help moving, you're like busy that day. If it's summer, like you're not helping 120 ended up in the ER because I passed up my moving day when I moved in here in 2004. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to move a friend. You don't ask a friend. Friends don't ask friends to move each other in Arizona. You hire a moving company. So there's things that you can do, and you just have to get used to really slowing down, asking a question, and then sitting back physically. I sat back in my chair when I was asking Kyle the questions. When Kyle got emotional about thinking about, he was sitting there and he was rubbing his chin. I actually leaned in and I was doing the same thing he was doing when he got upset and he was thinking about Kristen. Okay. That shows empathy. It shows, and I'm not acting. I literally noticed that I was doing the same thing as him, and I saw myself and him in the screen, and I was like, I'm doing what he's doing. And I just naturally do that as a compassionate, empathetic person. I'm a feeler. So I'm super sensitive. When someone gets emotional on a call, last week I had a guy that lost 3 children in a year. I was like, tears streaming down my face in the middle of the Zoom. Don't pretend, don't try to be so professional that you lack personality and compassion and empathy, because this is an emotional thing. So I know we've gone way over, but I'm more than happy to do more questions. I have a sitter, so like I can go for another half hour. There's nobody nagging at my feet. There's no one asking me for snacks.
Melissa's like, please, let's stay longer.
I literally, on the team call 2 weeks ago, I had my daughter, she's 21 months, riding her bike down her slide in the middle of Ashley and Tyler talking. So I had to get a sitter today. I was like, I can't give you guys my all if I have like, Houdini doing stunts on the slide. We're good to go. Any other questions?
I have one. First off, I'm like, even acting is that? I was like feeling uncomfortable, like trying to answer your questions. Like it was making me feel like, oh, so you're just incredible for stuff. But for like people that are new, and I know we've got switchboard and text scripts, and I'm asking this based off what Kylie put in the chat, but I would love to hear from you, Melissa. How often are you texting clients to set your appointments? How often are you running Zoom versus a phone call? And like, what would your recommendation be to just everybody on this call, experience level varying?
Symmetry is going to hate me for this, because I know everything's going to very digital and very quick, like microwave transaction. And I'm a sensitive feeler. So unless I have to, I try not to text clients. When I'm dialing, I still use the OG way of dialing. I have paper printed out leads. My client classification form is out. If you don't have this and you're not using this for your appointments with the 2 sides for the income, you need to be using it. But I have those out. I ask a lot of questions on the phone. I don't rush through getting the information on the phone, because I go into the appointment knowing if they're planning on selling that home or keeping it. And I go into the appointment knowing if they want to cover both of them or just one of them, and what their intent would be. If I'll ask both, like, would you stay in the home? Would she stay in the home? Because I want to know that going in. So I call 3 times in a row. If they don't answer, I'll call again a second time in the day. But this is the first day I get the lead, right? And then the third time of the day, if I call and they don't answer, I'll text them, and I can send it to your mom or to Jen. It's just like generic. It's, it's Melissa. I just tried calling. I'm calling about this. And if it has the mortgage company, and then, please call me, or you can text me back here. Sometimes they'll text me back there if they're young, but most of the time my clients are all older, not all, but majority are older, and they'll call me. It's very rare that I run an appointment. I've never, except for one time in almost 9 years, done a texting appointment where I've done an application like via text, and like I just can't do that. It's like really difficult for me. So almost all of them I try because of my age group, my demographic, and my personal belief about the emotion. Zoom is always going to be your best option. I don't give it as an option to do a phone call. Zoom is the only option. If they push back because they're like 80 and they don't have technology, or I had a couple last week that had a flip phone, they couldn't even do a Zoom call or a FaceTime call. So if they can't do Zoom, I'll try FaceTime. If they can't do FaceTime, there's another one called Whereby, where it's easier to like send them a link. They don't have to download a bunch. Whereby is for like really technically challenged people. If they still can't do all three of them, or they're really pushing back, and then I'll do a phone call. And when I do the phone call, I make sure even more so that I go into the emotion. On a phone call, people tend to push you through to the quotes right away. Don't let someone push you around. They are asking you for a service. If you go to the grocery store and you walk in there and you're expecting to buy groceries, right? You're not expecting for anything else. Like, they're coming into an appointment because they're saying that there's a need for them to have insurance. Your job is to uncover what that need is. If they filled it out, then they most likely need it, even if they push back because of the emotional. Like, every time we walk into Home Depot, they'll say, what is there, is there something I can help you with? And my husband will say, no, we're just looking. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're here for like this specific thing. Like, we're here for like a specific, this happened 2 days ago. I'm like, we're here for a drill bit that's this specific size. And we're like wandering around. It's almost 9 o'clock. They're about to close. And you're telling them that we're just looking. No, we're not just here to look. We're here for something. The baby's like past her bedtime. I'm so annoyed by that. Like, we're here for something specific. Ask for help. Like, why do you guys do that? So if they say that they're just kicking the tires or they're just looking, there's a reason they're just looking. Your job is to uncover why. I had a guy who I'm supposed to Zoom with at 2 o'clock today who texted me this morning and said, I'm just shopping. I just need the numbers. There's no need for a Zoom. I'm not going to just send him numbers. I'm going to tell him this is our process. There's no medical exam. So my job as the field underwriter is to go through and confirm that that you qualify. So if you would prefer a phone call, we can do a phone call, but we do need to, I can't just send you numbers. I'm not sending you numbers. I won't waste my time typing up an email with numbers ever. So, did that answer your question? I know there's like 2 parts, but,
yes, completely. Very helpful.
And I know that in today's day and age, we need to accommodate people who want to do texting. I know that we need to, move with times and be more electronic. I also think you have to know your demographic and think, so it depends on the lead type too. I mean, I'm using analog mortgage protection leads, which are typically people that are, like my people are, like I said, my demographic tends to be older. So know your clients, but I have had a lot of people lately that will text back if I can't get in touch with them, like, and I finally text them like a couple hours or days later, that I'm gathering the information from them via text, or at least like initially, but the actual appointment, I always try to do phone or Zoom. I wouldn't do anything over over that platform. So.
Can I ask how many leads you get per week, Melissa? I know we're over time, but I have
this is going to be very misleading, and you're going to, this is why I hate to answer this question. So I get 7 leads a week. Now, because, and this is not bragging, this is not, this is not for someone brand new. I would not recommend this ever. But for my family, for what I'm willing to run for appointments, and because if I sit with them, I'm writing them, it works for me to do 7 a week. I have a lot of people that I'm calling on that are old, not necessarily me reaching out to them, but a lot of former families that will add something or have, call me back and want to do another plan. So I have a lot of that, and I'm going to start doing, but if you're new, you're not going to have a book of business. When I started, I had 15 to 18 A leads every week. I never, ever had a week that I have not had a week that I did not purchase leads every week. And when I was full-time, it was every week, 15 to 20 leads. And I had 10 to 15 appointments every week. I'm going to be going back to doing like more appointments. So I'll be changing my lead order. But for the last 2 years, while the baby was young, I was really wanting to do more part-time. And so I don't want it to be misleading, like, oh, you can just get by with 7A leads.
Yeah.
But for me, it's working right now. And I'm averaging about, 25 to 35K a month in production.
I know. It's amazing.
Very part-time. So it's doable. You just have to know that you're going to have to get through. I had to get through being bitten by dogs and standing on hot porches and no's and failing. And then the biggest thing I can say is fail forward. So as soon as I had an appointment that didn't go the way I wanted, I got on the phone with someone who was above me, who I respected, who knew what they were doing. And I asked, I need help. What do I do here? If I had a phone appointment that didn't go the way I wanted, I got on the phone and I asked for help right away. If you don't have the constant action and the constant correction, you're not going to improve. And that was the hardest thing for a former teacher, because I thought I knew it all, right? I was like, it took me a long time to realize that if I actually asked for help after each appointment that didn't have the outcome that I wanted, I could learn so much faster than just trying to do the same thing over and over and over again.
That's good. Melissa, one thing just real quick, everybody, I want you guys to know Melissa has mastered this over the course of her 8-9 years, whatever it is now. Like, this is what's working for Melissa. She did not start out this way. But again, she's coachable, does the work, coachable, does the work, coachable, does the work, all that type of thing. And so also there's a big ish difference between a digital lead and how we run that lead and an analog lead. So if you want to talk more about that, let's get on a call. But there is a difference. It doesn't mean that a digital lead cannot be run through a Zoom appointment. It absolutely can. But the messaging, if you're using Switchboard, it's very, very different than the process that Melissa's doing. I'm talking like night and day difference.
Yeah.
So you really have to understand you're not going to probably mimic exactly what Melissa has talked about with a digital lead source. So that's for another call, but that's extremely important to say and for you to understand.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's really important to
Yep.
know your demographic and your lead source is so important. So important. Now
Absolutely.
with my young like leads that come in, Kristen, I'm much more likely to text them on that first day. I don't find texting 65 plus works very well for me, but I like by the end of the day or the second or third day, I will. And sometimes I hear back from them. But the younger ones, I feel like if they send me to voicemail right away more than a few times, I'm texting them.
Yeah, that's good.
So you have to know your demographic.
And here's another thing real quick, you guys, like a lot of people have used the excuse, well, older people don't know how to get on Zoom. Well, guess what? They do. They know how to get on Zoom because we just went through 2-3 years of COVID and they had to figure out how to get on Zoom so they could meet with their doctors. They know how to use Zoom. So don't use, I mean, there'll be every once in a great while that won't work, but literally they know how to use Zoom or FaceTime, either one. So anyway.
And FaceTime is like, I can't screen share my license or things like, or the application. So it's not my favorite, but I've done multiple FaceTime calls with older people. They know how to FaceTime their grandchildren or their great grandchildren.
That's right.
So
that's right. Very true.
They're going to take the path of least resistance. People are always going to take the path of least resistance. So they're going to want to do a phone call. They're going to want you to email them quotes. Your job is to be the professional and do what works for you. If digital and just texting works for you, I commend you. Like I wish I could take notes on a client qualification form on my computer. I've tried it a million times. Can't do it. I'm so like old school, like that I have to and I have to write, and I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I have to write. So you have to know yourself and you have to be yourself. That's the really important thing here.
Melissa, thank you so very much. I know you guys, we have gone way over, but thanks for hanging with us. This was an excellent call, and I think we have a lot to build off of and learn from this. So I want to continue the conversation. Someone put in the chat, come to the Ask the AO. Come, let's talk through more of this. And so really appreciate you taking the time, finding a sitter, Melissa. We really appreciate you.
The honor, pleasure was all mine. It was fun being on here with all you, and it's so fun getting to see your team grow. as someone who's run alongside you for so long, like there's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing your team growing and thriving.
Mhm.
And if I think if anybody who doesn't know this already, because maybe they're too new to know it, you have one of the most humble servant leaders that's in this company, and probably a big part of why I'm still here. And she's talked me off the ledge about 4 or 5 times from quitting. So you can thank her for me being on today, because I would have quit it definitely during COVID. I was ready to quit because I was caring for my elderly grandmother and had a bunch going on, and going from in-person to virtual. You guys, I had to relearn this.
Yeah.
And I tried everything that everybody else was doing and it wasn't working. And what it comes down to is that's why I do the old script from when we were in person, because it worked for me and it doesn't work for everybody. So you really have to know that you have to make it your own. But I hope that if anything stood out today is I'm very assumptive. I tell them exactly what we're going to do today, and then I do it, but they're in control. At least they think they are, because they're telling me which direction we're going. And I don't know any other way to do it, because I don't want to ever come across as salesy. I want them to know my intent and my heart.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
all right. Thanks for having me.
Melissa, thank you. And guys, a lot of you have asked in the chat. I will work with Melissa to get maybe the script. But again, remember, it's Melissa's modified script. You find yourself in it, but the bullet points, they're all the same. They're all the same. Getting to the emotion, the finances, reviewing the health, presenting the options. It's all the same. You're going to find yourself in it. Don't try to be Melissa in it. Don't try to be Melissa. You can mimic her, but don't try to be exactly Melissa. You be yourself with that information and with that scripting. So I'll work with Mel to get that. So thank you very much. All right, guys, have a great week. Have a great June. Let's go.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you all.